That's all you need to do is put the link right in there.
All right, welcome everybody. We're going to reconvene out of closed session at 6:04, and we don't have any action to report out. I guess the pledge is going to be led by Mr. Hoffman. You. All right, welcome everybody. All right, I guess at this part, we're going to have our ACES Awards. Is that you, Mr. Conti? You.
Good evening. Tonight, it's my pleasure to present two ACES Awards, and I'd be happy to have Mr. Coleman and Mr. Davis come on up and help me if they're present, our directors in human resources. So our very first ACES this evening is for the one, the only Margaret Canton. Margaret, are you here? How are you? Very good. So what we'd like you to do is like 10 seconds to the board and then 10 seconds to the back. There you go. All right. We have a sub at Amargosa Creek who goes above and beyond on a daily basis. Margaret Canton has stepped in for a filled to capacity sixth grade STC classroom. Her duties thus far have included establishing consistent procedures, participating in IEPs, 504s, collaborating with two novice paras, all on top of delivering instruction to a large number of students who have a surplus of educational supports and accommodations. Last Friday, February 17th, one student had a meltdown that included punching the door and banging his head. Mrs. Canton quickly enlisted one of the psychs and quickly began implementing interventions to de-escalate the student. Her timely and calculated responses led to minimal damage to school and property and the student. Margaret Canton is a rock star employee who is among one of our district's most valuable assets. And we just want to say thank you for all that you do. And as soon as you're ready to be a permanent teacher, Mike Davis is the one you want to talk to. No. And in case you didn't know, you were nominated by Cody Lewis. Our second and final award this evening is for Stephanie Zuniga. Stephanie, I could sing a song.
Yeah,
Never
go ahead,
mind.
sing a
No. That's one quick way to clear the room. And now. Oh.
Hey, Stephanie. Maybe have Margaret come back. She could probably sing a song. Maybe.
There we go. And we have an award that we'd like to give to Stephanie Zuniga. Oh, I just got attacked by a microphone. Stephanie, come on down. How are you?
Fantastic.
Right on time. Just stand right there in the center, face the board, face the audience, just twirl. There you go. Perfect. And Stephanie, I'm going to tell you that Sharia Phillips wrote a missive. So it's about a page and a half. So for the sake of tonight, I'm going to read a very well-written first paragraph and let you read the rest of it later on, if that's okay. But here's what she had to say about you. I would like to recognize Stephanie Zuniga for outstanding service as a volunteer member on Sunnydale's Elementary School PTA's Executive Board. From 2019 to 2022, Stephanie served in 2 elected positions. However, due to her commitment to ensuring that the PTA be able to continue to enrich the lives of Sunnydale students, she went above and beyond the scope of her elected positions elected position duties by taking on many responsibilities outside of her elected role to serve in any capacity where there is a need with an attitude of graciousness and generosity. I just love that, don't you? The two G's, graciousness and generosities. The contributions of her time, talents, and teamwork ensure that the school's PTA would be able to continue in its mission to positively impact the lives of students at Sunnydale Elementary. And then it goes on to talk about all of the other things that you do. And we just want to say thank you very much for serving our students and the Sunnydale Skyhawks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, looks like we have our Black History Month celebration. Who's doing that? Anybody? Oh, there we go. Okay. Come on down.
Hey, good evening. My name is Alicia Casey, and I'm the Director of Student Equity in the Department of Student Equity. Tonight, we will be highlighting and recognizing the celebrations done in honor of Black History Month. Although we know that Black history is American history that should be taught throughout the year, in the month of February, we give special emphasis to the many contributions of African American people. So tonight, we will begin with an original spoken word piece by Jaden, a 7th grade student at New Vista Middle School, who delivered her message during their Black History Month celebration.
Good evening. Am I a ghost? Can't be seen, can't be heard? Can't do what I want in life because I'm being held back by the world? Can I get past all these obstacles America has to bring? Can I be like Aaliyah and sing? I feel like Maya Angelou, I can't speak. I feel like George Floyd, I can't breathe. I feel like America views me as the biggest criminal in the world. I feel like in this life, I will lose the war. But even then, I stay positive. I keep the mindset that I will be successful, that I will be greater than great, that I will win day by day. I'm a Black girl in America. I can die any day. So I speak my truth now to show that I'm not scared of the future. I'm ready to wear my crown. My ancestors' pain in the past has given me strength for the future. My time is now. Today might not be great, but tomorrow will be a glorious day. I will shine. I will shine as bright as the sun was when my ancestors was working in them fields on them plantations. Plantations where some of them were born, where most of them died, where they got beat, abused, and treated like nothing. Scars. Scars that tell their story. Scars that tell your story. Scars that tell my story. Scars about my cursed curly hair. That is too thick. That is not the right color. But I learned to love my hair. My hair is a part of my beauty, beauty that no one can take away. Learn from your scars. Your scars are going to help you survive this cruel, nasty world. Take your scars with you. So being Black in America is hard, but it's extra hard when you're hard on yourself. Learning to love yourself helps the process of healing. Healing makes your life 10 times easier. So let's live, laugh, and love, and let's enjoy this Black History Month.
Thank you.
I considering that it's Women's History Month, I also wrote a Women's History Month. I would like to read that too, if that's okay. To be or not to be, that is the question to be. Even though I am not a bee, I do not make honey. I'm as sweet as sugar, but sugar does not define me. Do not be like me. Be like the person you want to be. Be kind, be sweet, be beautiful. Be mean, be sour, be ugly. It doesn't matter what you are. It matters who you are. Who you are inside. That's the person you should be. So if you think of a colony of bees, you know it's ran by women. Strong, powerful, phenomenal woman. You are that woman today that phenomenal woman tomorrow, that phenomenal woman now. Be the phenomenal woman you want to be, and eventually you'll make honey. So words of Maya Angelou. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaden. Hello, my name is Tanisha Jones. I am a AAAC rep and a CPS at Sunnydale. There are a variety of ways that the school celebrated Black History Month. In addition to New Vista's Black History Month Assembly, middle schools presented short bios of historical Black figures and the Black 365 calendar facts during morning announcements. At Endeavor, the science department created Black science research pennants, while Paiute science classes did research on African American historical figures and created videographies. At our virtual academy, Lava, students participated in a study trip to LPAC, and third grade students engaged in a research project and created video presentations of their research work. Thank you, middle schools, for helping us celebrate Black History Month.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michaela Ellis. I'm the AAAC rep at Monte Vista. I'm also a Black educator teacher, residency program mentor, and a kindergarten teacher. Our elementary schools were excited to celebrate the contributions of African American people. During morning announcements, great African American leaders were highlighted and artwork was displayed around the schools. Students engaged in class assignments and projects teaching about and celebrating Black excellence. The music class included African American music, and African American literature was shared in classes. Our Mariposa students went to the Black College Expo in Los Angeles, while students at Jack Northrop enjoyed speakers coming into their classrooms. To prepare for the Black 365 Knowledge Bowl, Lincoln's team competed against the teachers. I think the students probably won. The West African American drummers and dancers were able to perform for students during an assembly at Mariposa and during Discovery's Family Night. Also at Monte Vista, there was the first Black History Museum where families got to come and viewed student artwork, and they enjoyed free games, music, and food.
There. My name is Gata Moreno, and I'm the AAAC rep, site rep and TK teacher at Mariposa. This year, we were able to come back in person for our district AAAC family night and had about 350 people join us in attendance. Students showcased talent, and our community partners, AV Cares, spoke to our families. A special thank you to the Early Learning Department and the Welcome and Wellness Center, who were there with a table full of goodies and information for our parents. We had a great night of music, fun, and food. Speaking of fun, the AAAC at Mariposa and Monte Vista sponsored a Real Men Read event. We had over 50 men joining us in classes reading to our students. I believe that when men make time to be available to read to our youth, they are emphasizing the importance of reading and giving back to our community, especially valuable to our students. This event aligned with our district focus on early literacy. We are so thankful for all the fathers, grandfathers, husbands of employees like me, men from Grace Chapel, the Sheriff Department, Project Joy, and AV Community Uplift, and men from the community, our board members, of course, and the staff who supported our event. It was an impactful day that had a positive vibe that the whole school shared. And
Thank you.
We also had our Black 365 Knowledge Bowl that's still going on. And yes, woohoo! Yes. And to tell us a little bit more about what our students and our coaches endured in order to prepare and get ready for the Black 365 Knowledge Bowl, we have the creator of the Black 365 calendar and Knowledge Bowl, Jamal Brown.
Thank you. It is a pleasure and honor for me to be here this evening. The bowl, our annual bowl that's been going on how many years? Since 2014. Fun, exciting, a bunch of hard work, dedication. In late fall, Ms. Casey and her team puts together a prospectus to all the coaches, teachers, and they form their teams. At that point, I send them out a study guide, and that's when the heavy lifting begins. Days and days and hours of studying takes place. Team leaders emerge, teamwork, leadership skills, resilience, dedication, all those things take place. Teachers reach out to me in the wee hours of the morning via email. I'm like, why are you up at 3 o'clock in the morning working on this? You know, hey, Mr. Brown, I kind of think this might be the answer. What about this? Can you point me in the right direction? I normally get to those about 5 or so when I'm awake. But no, it's a pleasure and a joy, and again, happy for this collaboration that we have. And there is a Hispanic heritage version of the bowl, and hopefully we can begin to implement that. We may be working with Ms. Casey and Dr. Goins to see if we can get that going here in this fall, again, further team building and all that good stuff, cultural infusion, all that good stuff. But again, it's a pleasure. I can think of no better place, maybe the Bahamas, but other than that, no better place to be.
Good place to have the fun.
Yeah. But no better place than being on the stage and hosting the bowl for our young scholars. It's truly a pleasure.
Very good. Thank you so much.
So our Black 365 Knowledge Bowl was back live and in person this year. And during the first preliminary round, we had 139 people present to cheer on our scholars. Our second preliminary round, 162 people, which included Sunnydale's Pep Squad, were in attendance. And at our last and final round, we had about 250 people, which included New Vista's choir, El Dorado's dance team, and Sunnydale's Pep Squad, there to cheer on and celebrate our scholars. Right. And of course, this could not be possible without the support of our board members, our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, Bart Hoffman of Educational Services, Bart Hoffman, our admin, families, and especially our students. We had 8 schools and about 80 students who participated. We definitely, though, could not have done this without our Black 365 coaches. Yes, go ahead. So tonight, coaches, I want to honor you. So when I call out your name, if you can please come forward, and Dr. Marietti, if you can please come help me out. So from Mariposa, and who was also a lead coordinator for our AAAC Family Night, we have Gada Moreno. She has 2 certificates. So she's getting a certificate for the AAAC coordination and also from Mariposa, who's not present with us, but we want to call out, she's a 6-year retired teacher who came back to help Mariposa's team. We have Miss Dayette Goss. If you can get that to her. Thank you. From Amargosa Creek, and who is also our DJ, we have Michael Hodges. And then also we have Miss Harris and Miss Williams from Amargosa Creek. Okay, we'll make sure they get that. From Sierra Elementary, we have the assistant principal who was the coach, Miss Anitris Jones. All right. From New Vista, we have Dr. Leslie Wills. And also from New Vista, we have teachers Cheryl Fisher. From Lincoln, we have our counselor, Nikisha Geeter. From Joshua, we have teacher and longstanding coach, Marguerite Oggs. From Amargosa Creek and also our DJ, we have Michael Hodges. From El Dorado, we have teacher Harmony Bell. From Sunnydale, we have teachers Renika Farmer and Sharia Phillips. And we also want to recognize Jamal Brown. He has done this for a long time with our district, and he's been patient with us as we've, navigated the Black 365 Knowledge Bowl, and he's there for us every single time we need him. So let's go ahead and give it up for our coaches. And then El Dorado and Sunnydale, if you can stay up, all the rest. Oh, you should be up there too. And so we also want to recognize the students for all of their hard work. And so we have our second place team for Lancaster School District was El Dorado Elementary. If there's anyone from El Dorado, you can come on down. Go ahead, Principal Coleman, come represent. All right, come on down, Principal Coleman. Coleman. Yes, you too. You too, Coleman. You're El Dorado. And then wait on this. Our first place team who will be competing against Palmdale School District's first place team on Thursday, March 9th at 5 p.m. at Parkview in the gym. And you're all welcome to come. Sunnydale Elementary. Come on down, guys. Come on down. Okay, we're going to take a moment so they can take a picture. Any of our El Dorado families? Oh. And then let's squish you guys all together. You can take a picture together. And I completely forgot to. Thank you for letting them have their moment. All right. All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you, families, for being here tonight. And that concludes.
Thank you so much. Well, as one of them Sunnydale parents, man, it seems like a good ice cream time, even though it's freezing outside. All right, you guys, if you want to take a minute and head out, you're welcome to, because we're just getting into the fun stuff now, but I'd leave if I could, just saying. Sure. Yeah, we might need to keep you next time. I like the excitement, but yeah. All right, Rebecca, you want to do the enrollment report?
I sure can.
You can.
I can. So in TK through eighth grade, we have 14,127 students. In ECE, we have 752 for a total of 14,879. This is a gain of 21 students from our last board report and a gain of 12 from the same time last year. We also have 944 homeless students and 530 foster students.
Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any other curriculum? Okay, I guess we'll move on to curriculum highlights. We have the Learning Center at Nancy Corey Elementary by Principal Denning. There he is.
I'm ready to go.
Already, good.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to come and present tonight. I'm David Denning, principal at Nancy Corey School. I'm Jill Culver, my assistant principal here. And then we also have Shannon Swift, who is our intervention teacher, and Brenda Hackathorn, who is our resource teacher. We even have some more aides and psychologists. So we've got full representation here tonight. But we're happy to come here tonight to present to you our Learning Center. And we wanted to kind of show a little bit about what we do in our Learning Center and then the accomplishments that we've been seeing in our Learning Center and successes that we've been seeing. That's okay, that's great.
Okay, thank you. We're waiting for the next slide to share with you a little bit about the Learning Center. You heard about one of the students that attends there, and they were pretty excited about coming to the center. Like he says, we do a lot of different things there. And let's see, next. Okay. The Learning Center consists of 2 rooms. Room 1 as the Language Arts Center, and Room 2 as the Math Center, right there. And we had 2 of our students that wanted to introduce that, but we weren't able to get the audio, but they were very excited to kind of share with you about what the 2 rooms and the centers are about. Okay, next. Okay, the Learning Center is part of the MTSS and the umbrella there, because we wanted to look at prevention, enrichment, and intervention for all of our students. Because at Nancy Corey, it's our students, our school, and again, we're incorporating learning for everybody. And it started out to be a special education intervention to get those students that are in those SDC classes to more with their age-typical peers. So that's how we started, but then it kind of bloomed into something much bigger than what we had anticipated. We're a Tier 3 intervention, and so the students that do come to the Learning Center, whether it be language arts or math, are receiving that Tier 3 piece because they're more than 1 grade level behind. Our Learning Center student demographics are made up of SDC students, resource students, and general ed. That's how, again, we're able to try to reach all students at Nancy Corey. So what started out to be a special ed intervention actually benefits the whole school. And taking a look at our least restrictive environment, we're looking at the SDC population from last year and how are they able to incorporate with our general ed peers. So last year we were at 24%, and again, Nancy Corey way, how could we do better? So this year we took a look at it and incorporating them in the Learning Center, we're at 33.4. So this is a way that our special day population students, they can get access to their same age peers within some instruction. Okay, so this is taking a look at our language arts learning center. We have 4 centers. They run 45 minutes, 4 days a week. So that's 180 minutes. I'm talking IEP for me, because I have to look at those minutes. And you can see that those centers are based on, we have phonics with the decoding, reading, and writing, and the assessment piece down on the bottom with the iReady. We are looking at state standards in all those learning centers. So again, we're looking at state standards for phonics and the different grade levels from 3 through 5, and reading, writing, and taking our informative assessments. And taking a look at our math center, it's still based on the standards, but the groups are done a little bit differently. They're flexible groups because we do one standard and then we make them flexible, and we're meeting for 4 times a week for 30 minutes. As you can see, we have one of my parent over here. He's working with a large group because, again, he's teaching that particular standard, and we see our other professional educator too working with one student, because if a standard has a lot of rigor, we're taking a look at what does the student need and how are we able to support that student. So it could be one of us 2 as teachers working with 3 students, or another working with 6 or more. So we're taking a look at the rigor of the standard, seeing what the student needs, and being able to kind of meet that need for everybody. Okay, next. And Ms. Swift.
Hello. So this is how we, let me start over. This is how we looked at our students. First, we met with the grade level teams, and we looked at all of our students, and we leveled their iReady data by level. And you can see we pulled out the groups. We don't have the lowest. We looked and we saw that there was only 8 students, so we put them in the SDC class with Ms. Hart. So they have the most intensive support with 4 to 1. In the Learning Center, we have 5 to 1. This is our school-wide data on how our students did the whole school. So we're looking at those scores for 3rd grade through 5th grade, and we want to be at the 50% towards their growth goal at the 50% mark when we tested in December. And we saw that our 5th grade students who came to the Learning Center had outperformed their peers in the iReady. Sometimes what happens is we'll look and we'll say if the kid has more of a need, they'll be able to grow more. So we looked at that same cohort last year, and this is the end of year score. So they grew 61% in a year, where our kids grew 116% in 1 year, or half a year. And so we looked at all the cohorts on both subjects, reading and math, and you can see for 3rd grade, for ELA, they were at 34% last year, and they're at 67% this year. 4th grade was at 25% at the end of the year, and we're at 72%. 61% at the end of the year, 116%. This is the school-wide for math. We're mostly at that 50% mark in all grade levels. And here we are again, 52% at the end of the year versus our 110% at mid-year. 63% versus our 104%, 77% versus our 185. So that would be 4 times the growth that we're seeing, and we're hoping we continue to see that growth. Since we have a couple more minutes, one of the things we do when we were designing the Learning Center is we looked at the Learning Center, some of the things that didn't work last year, and then we kind of worked how can we get more bang for our buck. So we did look at John Hattie's research on effect size, and you can't see those little stars because it's kind of covered up, but we looked at self-reporting grades, teacher clarity, and then of course, response to intervention. This is a sample from our classroom of how we're doing the teacher clarity. Every time a kid comes in, they sit down. We'll talk about what they can do by the time they leave. And the one that's in the red is a learning target. They'll actually write it down. I can use word families to make new words. At the end of their lesson, they self-reflect and they will score how they felt they did. And this is maybe not how well they did on the task, but how focused and how hard they tried and were they participating. At the very bottom of that, I'll put a little note to the teacher, maybe how many trials we did so that they're getting that automatic feedback. Oh, this is another thing I would like to talk about. So I'm going back to that 116% because when we see that, we get really excited. Woohoo! But we look at every student. So we look and see who did not meet that 50% mark. And here you can see we had 5 kids that did not meet it in 5th grade. So we looked at the attendance and we saw that 3 of the 5 had 10 or more absences. For the 2 that absence was not an issue, Brendan and I worked together to kind of look at their plan and see what we can do differently. So this is a snapshot of a 5th grader's attendance. You can see that this is concerning. So I met with each student, parent, and myself, and we did an attendance contract and a homework contract. We modified their homework so that it was aligned to what they were learning in the Learning Center so that we can get those last few kids towards the end.
So we also took a look at those same students last year and knowing that they part of PBIS, how much of those students that were attending last year and then this year, did this Learning Center have an impact on their behavior? So with those students, we met with Ruth Nettlehurst, who took a look at that Swiss data and gave her the names of the students that were often getting in trouble, I guess, in the classroom last year because they were having difficulty accessing the curriculum. And we have found with those students that 92% of the students participating in the Learning Center at Nancy Corey has experienced less behavior problems from last year because they're able to access that curriculum, find success. And that's what we're all about, at Nancy Corey. Every student needs to be feeling successful and finding that success. And if not, we got to take a look at it as educators and what we can do better. And that's what our Learning Center has been able to provide.
I want to look at the tier 3 real quick. You see that we were focusing on the red, but at this very end, I would like to focus on that 3. We also use the Learning Center for enrichment programs, such as the after school book club. And we even have a just before lunch, a 5th grade book club. So here's some pictures from that. Thank you.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can at Nancy Corey. What started out to be a special ed intervention to help those students get mainstreamed into the general population actually kind of morphed into something much bigger than what we had anticipated. And we're always kind of looking at how we can be more successful at the school level.
And then as you can see, the Learning Center is a true MTSS, a medium for MTSS because it addresses not just academics, but it also addresses behaviors and addresses the social emotional needs of the students at the same time. So it's taken, again, everything under that umbrella. The other great thing about the Learning Center is it allows for a lot of flexibility. And students they don't need to be in there all year long. In fact, the more that we can kind of move them in and move them out and really focus on what specific students need, we're able to do that with the Learning Center. We sit down, me, my coach, assistant principals sit down with our teachers 3 times a year, and we talk about specific students and their needs. And a lot of those conversations guide who goes into the Learning Center and for how long. And then once they get to where they need to be, they're out and other kids can go in. So it does allow for a lot of flexibility. But thank you guys so much. And you guys have done an amazing job. Our Learning Center will always be changing and growing, and it's always going to be a work in progress because every day we discover something new that we want to do, and we discover a new way that we can address the needs of our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Awesome job. That's really cool. Keep up the good work. Okay. I guess we have our second interim budget report. Dr. Freeze. And company.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Marietti. As you're aware, second interim report is a progress report on expenditures of district and revenues through the end of February. And it's one of the required reports of AB 1200 to report to the county. And so Isabel masterfully, in her first year here in this permanent position, has put together a second interim report. I think you'll find it a positive report for the district. I'm going to make some initial comments, though, if you go to the second slide, please. On the state of the state, because of course the state of California and its revenues to districts is what really drives our budget. Vast majority of our revenues come from the state of California. And as of late February, income tax collections are running a little bit short of what the governor anticipated. The governor in his January budget report painted a rosier picture than what the UCLA forecast was, and it's coming more in line with what UCLA said would happen. Personal income tax is a little bit below projections, although sales and use taxes are up. April 15th, of course, is the magic date where personal income tax collections are finalized to the state, and that then is reflected in the governor's May revise. So we'll really get a much better picture in May once we get that May revised report and we see the collections that'll come in. Big question is if there is a shortfall, how does the governor go about resolving it? They've talked about a number of different strategies, cuts to some new programs. They've talked about the music grant, and they've already cut that a little bit. But then the next big question is will they ever dip into the state's education rainy day fund? And they've had conversations about that too. So we're anxious to hear what comes out of the May revise. But at this time, the recession has stayed away. And if we keep our fingers crossed that the recession will stay away, we don't see a big downfall in capital gains collections, we may weather this with minimal damage to states' budgets. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Isabel. She's going to do the real hard numbers and explanation of the second interim.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here presenting the second interim for the Lancaster School District. Can we please go to the next? There you go. So I would like to go over with you on the second interim assumptions. I wanted to put together and show you the first interim versus the second interim. The first interim, when we built the budget and when we built the report for you and the multi-year projection, the COLA at that time for the 22-23 was already approved because the budget was enacted for this fiscal year. But the 23-24, 24-25, and 25-26 were projections. Therefore, they're subject to changes. Now, when we went in January for the budget, for the governor's budget presentation, they give us a new projections now. So the projections for 23-24, the COLA, they're saying that they're going to do 8.13, which is an increase of 2.75%. And then on the next year is 3.54, which it's a decrease of 0.48%, and then 3.31, which is a decrease of 0.41. Again, these consecutive years, the 23-24 to 25-26, they're only projections. They're subject to change until the budget is approved for the next fiscal year.
Part of what you're seeing in those reductions is a reflection of the federal government's interest rates hikes to drive down inflation. So of course, the inflation goes down, the cost of living goes down, and the projected COLA also correspondingly goes down. So while it's less revenue back to the district, it's a positive sign overall in the economy that finally inflation's starting to come down a little bit. The next slide you see is STRS and PERS. And of course, the STRS and PERS estimations are long-term analyses of the financial stability of the retirement funds for teachers and public employees. And a number of years ago, the state, through actual studies, finally came to the determination that they had to increase contributions, not only in the parts of employees, but employers to both STRS and PERS to make sure that the funds were fiscally stable for decades to come. When they do those long-term analyses, of course, the stock market investments are a big part of those long-term analyses. And the stock market hasn't performed, and therefore what you're seeing reflected in PERS contributions are increases to continue to keep that retirement fund viable. STRS is locked at 19.1% by law, and legislature would have to come together at some point to raise that up. So you're going to see that 19.1 stuck there And they actually need more than 19.1%. So at some point, we may see the legislature take action to raise that ceiling. And I would guess that when they did that, the STRS will immediately pop up to what that new ceiling is in order to keep that particular fund viable. HERS is a much larger retirement fund than STRS because it's all public employees in the state of California. So not only our classified employees, but sheriff's department and fire department and other public employees. So that fund is allowed to float in order to keep it viable. And the goal is, of course, to make it completely self-sufficient in the decades to come.
To that point, to Dr. Freeh's point on the STRS and PERS, what I'm doing is you guys will approve an assignment. It was recommended by the state and by the CDE and LACO to assign some funds for future obligations and liability for STRS and PERS. So we are doing an assignment for $3 million this year, $1 million next year, and another $1 million next year. Now, for this one is the second interim revenue. I wanted to show the percentages. On LCFF, we know that's the biggest revenue we have, is 62%. Then on federal, we have 15%. State, we have 20%. There's a shift right there between federal and state. On the first interim, federal was higher than state. This time, state is higher due to a grant that we receive, actually two grants. One that is sorry, I have it. The name, the Arts and Music Grant, which is $4 million, and then a Learning Recovery Grant, which is $13 million. So that's why you see the shift in between the state and the federal. Now that is that slide was prepared so I can show you that just because right now we receive those grants, that those revenues shift. Okay, go to the next. On the second interim expenditures, so the certificated salaries are 29%, classified salaries 15%, employee benefits 20%. So if you add those three together, it's 64% out of the total expenditures for the district. And then you have the books and supplies at 18% and contracts and services at 16%. If you add those two together, it's 36%. The reason behind that, it's because we have one-time fundings, which are restricted funds that must be fully budgeted on the 4s and 5,000s.
So we've always talked about how salaries and benefits is in about 80%, 85% of a district budget. It's not that way because we have one-time dollars that have to be expended. Once those one-time dollars are eventually expended, we will return to 82, 83, 84% of our budget will be salaries and benefits for our employees.
Okay, so this is the second interim multi-year projection. Our revenues are 306 to 3514. There's a difference between the first interim revenues and the second interim revenues. That's due to the grants that I just mentioned. And then our expenditures, the budget is 293, 296, 102. That gives us a difference of 12,938 on the first year, which is actually an increase in our ending fund balance. We begin our year with a beginning fund balance of 81,658,024, and we add the 12,938,912. So we end this year with 94,596,936. Out of those dollars, out of that ending fund balance, 49,192,934. Those are restricted funds. Then we have assignments, total of 16,850,000. Leaving us with an available reserve of 28,554,002, which represents 9.74% as a reserve. How you come up with that number is you just divide the available reserve dollars into the expenditures. Now, the middle year, which is 23-24, our revenues, look how the drop is, I put it right here, 53 million. It was 47 million, if you remember, on the first interim. The reason behind is because we're projecting we build our multi-year projection based on the P1. Normally, we build it on P2, but LACO and CDE and School Services of California ask us to use P1 because we are in declining, not enrollment, but attendance, which drives our ADA down. We are down about 6%. So therefore, our revenues drop because of that. So then our revenues for next year is 253, 623, 277. So it's the one-time dollars that we're missing, the 47 million, plus the declining on the ADA. So our expenditures, therefore, we have to reduce expenditures, right? Because we don't have enough revenue, or we don't have those dollars as a revenue. So now it's 275, 985, 910. Please know that I have to budget all one-time funds that were received on prior years. That's why we have a deficit spending, because we're spending dollars that were not earned that fiscal year. So that will leave us with a deficit spending of 22,362,633. So our beginning fund balance for 23-24, it's carried over from the first fiscal year 22-23, and then we do the calculation between 94 minus 22, which is the deficit spending, leaving us with an ending balance of 72,234. Now, those dollars out of the 72, 43 million is restricted. And look at the 6 million that we're spending on the ending fund balance for the restricted. The assignments now are the same 3,750,000. 2,250,000 is for book adoption, remember, for textbook adoption, and we're committing another $1 million, another 1.5 for the Sturgeon Purse. Then we have an available reserve of 24,865,985, representing a 9.01%. Then we go to the third year, our revenue there. Now, remember how the ADA can be calculated on an average of 3 years? So now we really see the ADA going down. So our revenue went down to 229,775. So it's dropping by 76 million. And our expenditures, then we have to decrease it because we don't have enough dollars to spend as money as the prior year, but we still have a deficit spending. The deficit spending is because all of our one-time funds are sunsetting September 30th, 2024. Okay, so that rolls into the 24-25 fiscal year by 2 months. So we end with a deficit spending of 31,289,000. Our beginning fund balance, it carried over from the middle year, so it's 72,234,303. And our ending fund balance for that fiscal year, it's the result of the 72 minus the 31, which leaves us 40,945,000. Now the restricted ending fund balance is 28 million out of those 40. And then we have $1 million as an assignment for the Sturgeon Purse, leaving us an available reserve of 11,702,496. Our reserve at the third year out will be 4.48%. Positive certification to the district because we can meet our 2 subsequent years. So we will be fiscally responsible and fiscally solvent. Okay, then I would like to go over with you with the revenues, because remember I told you about the revenues. So first interim, 230 on the state revenues. Second interim, 247. There's an increase of 17.13 million. Remember I told you the 2 grants, 13 million for the learning recovery and 4 million for the arts and music. The arts and music is supposed to be 8 million, but they decrease it, but that it is not final. Remember, until they actually approve the budget, the governor's budget, when it's enacted, then is when we know how much our revenues are going to be. The federal revenues are the same because we already received all of them. We're not planning to receive any more, so it's still 47.26. Now, the local revenues, we did receive, we're projecting to receive 1.42 million more than normal. Remember, local is SELPA, is special education, thank you. We're receiving CCEIS funds, which is the disproportionate, which is one time. That's why we have 1.42 million more. So our total revenues on the first interim were 287.98. Our total revenues on the second interim is 306.23. And that matches the multi-year projection that I just presented to you.
One thing I would like to add is that these grants don't magically appear. They are the efforts put in by our directors and our assistant superintendents to go out and get these dollars to support new programs as we try to expand. And we are pursuing more grant money every single month where we're trying to get more and more to be able to expand the services that we offer. So we hope to be able to come back and say, hey, we've got some more revenue. Most of the time, these grants are tied to specific things. There's always strings attached, but it's always related to more services that we can provide to our students and our community. So we're excited about the efforts that we put forth, and we hope to be able to tens of millions of dollars of more grants in the future.
Amen to that. Okay, now I would like to go over with you on the second interim versus the AB 1200. The AB 1200 is posted as a public disclosure in the agenda. So the second interim that I'm presenting to you, the certificated salaries are 85.76. Now on the AB 1200, and this is for everybody, it will be 96.24. On the classified salaries, on the second interim, we're paying 43.57. After the AB 1200s, will be 48.45. Everything is in millions. I'm sorry I didn't state that. The benefits on the second interim are 57.19. After all AB 1200s are approved, it's 62.66. The total compensation right now on the second interim is 186.53. After the AB 1200s are approved, will be 207.36. So there's an increase on expenditures of 20.83 million. Now, how do I manage that? Well, we all know that when you pay more in salaries and benefits, you have to reduce the 4s and 5s, right? So what I did is I went back on my second interim, I have the supplies 52.72, and I reduced it to 40.37. And on the services, 46.15, and we reduced it to 42.29. So we were able to reduce 16.41 million in supplies and services. And that took administration to sit together and see what programs and everything could be budgeted better. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we weren't kidding when we were saying that in order to afford these pay increases, cuts would have to be made. And so in a single year, 20.8 million additional in salary and benefits had to be weighed against 16.4 million in cuts in some places. And so it was a team effort to identify those cuts to make this compensation package work. In this particular fiscal year, we received the benefit of the additional dollars after we had done a lot of this work, so that it's a good thing to have. But there was a trade-off, and the trade-off was masterfully calculated by Isabel to make this work, to keep us fiscally sound. And it's one of the reasons why she's showing you 2 multi-year projections. She's going to show you the next set, is because the first set of multi-year projections, which is part of the second interim, was prior to the finalization of the raises. We had to show what was in our books at that particular time. But we know that when you go to give raises and you have to have it approved by the county, you have to do a new multi-year projection to demonstrate to the county that you can afford to give these raises. So hence, you're going to see a new multi-year projection that Isabel's going to show here in a second that reflects what those compensation packages cost this district, and it reflects then these cuts in that multi-year. So we had to do 2 sets of them to be able to show before and after. We didn't just want to show you a second interim and walk away because it didn't reflect all this compensation. So it was 2 sets that we did. And so this is what she said.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say something. See how the salaries are 20.83 million up, and then we were able to only decrease 16.41. So keep in mind 4.4 million, okay? So go to the next. So this is the multi-year projection after the AB 1200 and fiscal stabilization. We created a fiscal stabilization where, remember, I promised you when we closed the first interim, and I said, we have a fiscal stabilization where we're all going to meet and we're going to evaluate what programs are best to keep and turn into the ongoing expenditures. Okay, so we analyzed the position control as well, and we saw which positions were not filled and which positions were not needed. And so that's why we were able to reduce all these expenditures. So on the first fiscal year, which is this fiscal year, we have the same revenues, which is 306 to 3514. The expenditures, 297, 711, 390. If you go back to the second interim very quick, the multi-year projection on the second interim very quick, I think it's like 2 or 3 slides. See, it's 293. So that's the 4.4 million. Okay, now let's. I just want to I just want to validate what I'm telling you. So the difference now is 8 million versus 12 million that it was before. So the beginning fund balance is 81 million, and now the ending fund balance is 90 versus 94 that we have on the second interim. The restricted fund balance is 43 million versus we have 49 million. So the assignments are the same. The available reserve is 32,003. So we're at 10.75%. Then on the second year, our revenues are exactly the same, but our expenditures are also raising. So now it's 293. Our deficit spending now is 25,776,922. So our beginning fund balance from prior year is 90,181,648. And then we subtract the deficit spending. And so we end with 64,404,726. Our restricted fund balance now is 44,470. So it's still dropping because we're paying as much as we can from the restricted. And then our assignments are the same. Our available reserve, this is important, now goes to 15,911,193 because we're spending down all the dollars. So now it's 5.69%. Now the third year out, 229,775, the same revenue. Our expenditures increase a little bit, and our deficit spending now is 34 versus 31. Our beginning balance rolls over from the prior year. Our ending fund balance, 29,701,232. Please take a look at the restricted ending fund balance. Now is 19,465,214. Our assignments are the same. Available reserve is 9,236,000. We still meet the state required reserve at 3.49%. So we are positive certification for this fiscal year and the 2 consecutive years.
So what I really like about the way that she put this budget together is for the current fiscal year and the out 2 fiscal years, she's shown in this particular analysis all the negotiated settlements. She's also factored in the reduction, the decline in attendance that we had this particular year, and then shows it improving a little bit next year because we hope to see attendance improve. But what's really significant about this is when you look at this year had the greatest impact in terms of salary, as she showed, it was about $20 million in salary and benefits. Now, not all of that is constant because there was some off-schedule stuff. So a little bit of that falls off next year. But, overall, we're talking about $50 million in 3 years of additional salaries and benefits. She made that work by cuts in programs, strategic cuts in programs. We also had the benefit of the one-time monies, and we still came out with a 3.5% reserve at the end of it all. So it was some masterful budget development and modification to make these salary packages work. And I'm just so very pleased at to me, Herculean efforts by a first-year director, a fiscal director, was just really outstanding the way she did this. So it is worthy of applause, of budgetary applause, that's for sure. If there are any questions that you might have, we'll be happy. She's got one more slide.
Say the unknowns until state budget passes in June. So the final percentage of COLA, that's unknown yet for the next fiscal year. If COLA will be fully funded, the 8.13, and which programs will qualify for COLA. And we will not know the revenues until the enacted budget for next fiscal year. I just want to make sure these are all projections. Remember, they will be changing. And if there's any changes, drastic changes, I will make a multi-year projection, and I will be here in front of you presenting. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I want to say something else. I will not be able to function without this assistant soup. He is amazing, and I'm very blessed to work with him and Dr. Marietti. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, I guess you guys are off the hook. Thank you, guys. Very good presentation. Okay, I guess we'll move on to item 13, which is the individual action items. Superintendent, we have adoption of resolution 2022-2327, board member compensation for a missed meeting for Greg Teepee on February 21st, 2023. Motion? I think Pamela. So moved by Pamela Starlson and seconded by Brooms. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4-0, one abstention. Okay, we have item 14. Okay. Item 14, we have adoption resolution number 2022-2326A regarding assigning fund balance for STRS and PERS. Moved by Mr. Teepee. Any questions, concerns? Hearing none. Favor? Public disclosure, KB 1200, public disclosure collecting bar. Good.
Okay, that's better. Yes, Government Code 3547 requires to public AB 1200, and as we said in the presentation, that's the mathematical analysis to show compensation packages for the current 2 outgoing fiscal years. And this is for everybody but the Teachers Association. That's settled a little bit.
All right, so long as we're covered there, we'll move on to item 16, which is the approval of unrepresented final compensation and salary schedule for questions, concerns, clarifications? Favor? Opposed? Item B, approval of tentative agreement with the California School Employees Association and revised salary schedule for 2022-2023. All in favor? Opposed? C is the appointment of interim principal, Mr. Conti.
Eddie Oliphant.
Need a motion? Mr. Teepee? Second.
So I just want to say thank you to Eddie Oliphant, who agreed to step up in the absence of the principal at TLA and RISE. He's just got the quintessential heart for students who have special needs, and we're really blessed to have him bring that spirit to the school. And we know he's going to do a sensational job, either throughout the rest of the school year or until the principal returns.
All right, well, I guess we better take a vote real quick before he runs out. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Okay, this is my favorite part, the addressing the board. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it and any supporting documents to the deputy superintendent or other district official prior to the start of the meeting. Personal information such as student/parent/guardian's name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, or other directory information as defined in Education Code 4961 may be excluded from the minutes of the meeting by submitting a written request to the superintendent. Board president shall recognize individuals who wish to speak, wishing to testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once that item has been moved, seconded, and is on the discussion. Time limits at 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda. This time we'll take comments from PTA. CSEA. Cal. Gina's still here. Come on down.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Sorry, my voice still hasn't recovered from basketball, so this is what I have. Just a few things. I'm very happy to say that we've finally closed up bargaining. I'm a little disappointed that it's ratification didn't get on the board agenda tonight, but I understand we're going to have a special meeting to make that happen. So thank you for that. We did pass 96.8% of the teachers voted to ratify. So very happy with that number. We all know that bargaining is difficult and we all have to compromise. Nobody ever comes out getting exactly what they want to. But I will say that it really comes across the work that we're doing and the things that we're doing every day. Teachers are happy. Teachers are very, we're tired though. I will say that right now. And so with respect, Larry, I don't know that we want any more programs, or at least not programs that are going to take up more of our time and continue to infringe on what we're trying to do in the classroom with our students, who so many of them are struggling. So 10 million in grants? I hope not. I hope not, if that means that there is training and extra things that we need to sneak into our day attached to that. So anyway, that's all I have for tonight. It's nice to see everybody. Hey, one more thing I want to say. I want to just appreciate and acknowledge the nice feeling that there has been at these last few board meetings, just the celebrations, the kids being here, and it's so nice to be back to positive meetings and just feeling nice in here. So anyway, just wanted to share that. I think other people are noticing too. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guess we'll move on to comments from the audience. Okay. Guess we'll move on to item 18 then. We have consent agenda items, superintendent items 18A, 18C. Got to do it loud. I'm pretty much deaf. Pamela, and then seconded by Greg. Sorry, guys. Questions, concerns, clarifications?
Firehouse subs. Done it without them. Families that were bringing that about. Probably doing more family of it shows.
All right. Favor? Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Consent agenda action item, business items 18A through 18L, or N and I. L it is. Okay. I need a motion. Dwayne. Okay, and second by Diane. Questions, concerns, clarifications, shout outs?
So the high school was is having the Harlem Wizards come out and do to know if we want to take part in that, and so
All right. Anything else? All right, seeing none. All in favor? 5-0. I believe we're on item 20. Correct me if I'm wrong. consent agenda items, educational services, items 20A through 20I. Yeah, I can see the difference now. Need a motion. And TP. Questions, concerns, clarifications? Okay, Mr. Wayne.
We have Ms. Napoleon specifically, but my understanding is that we had to cover some additional open positions that came.
He's coming on down. It's like, dang it, I thought it was going to be off tonight.
So we actually have learning recovery funds that we do need to use by June 30th. So in looking at our plan, initially we had slotted X amount of money for para support for openings. But once we did our mid-year review in December, we found we still had some money to spend. So we looked at where can we spend the money to support our students. And we looked at our openings that we had in our classified staff. So we decided to bring on more paras just to support our students for our openings and use that and use the learning recovery funds that will go away June 30th. So we might as well use them for that. So that is where that increase came from.
To be sure this thousand on the.
No, unfortunately, we would know with our shortage of staff, we're contracting out para positions. So some openings in classrooms and some one-on-one paras that we have been unable to fill. So we decided to use our learning recovery funds to help support those students and classrooms.
And the same would be true with stepping?
Yes. So we decided we would use ProCare for our moderate to severe openings, and we would use stepping stones for our mild to moderate, so resource and mild to moderate openings.
75,000 stones.
Supporting our,
Contracted
yes.
individual.
No, we have been unable to fill some positions, so.
Basically to fill unfillable.
Yes. And we still interview, we will still fill positions. And if we had an opening and we have a contracted para in there and we hire someone, we'll move that contracted para with another student or to another position. So we still continue to fill our openings. We don't freeze our openings because this money will go away.
Right. If we don't spend it, it goes away in June. I get
yes,
that.
For sure.
We don't want to waste it.
No.
It's coming on us.
Yes, learning recovery fundings, one-time monies.
It's coming.
We could put learning recovery on there, for sure. Of course, it's a big number. I understand.
Thank you for coming up. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 21, we have consent agenda items, human resource services, items 21A through 21E. Questions, concerns, clarifications? all in favor? Motion passes. 42, consent agenda items, innovation, technology services items. A and motion. Questions, concerns, clarifications? You gonna let Rebecca off that either?
Well, I knew a kid. His name was Follett.
Probably not the same kid.
Probably not.
If it is, he's probably doing okay. Else, all right. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We have legislative and policy discussion. We're got all that. Updates on 60, 3460, 540. Pay attention because I'm going to read it one more time, correct? Okay. Okay, thank you for that. All right, I guess we're going to take comments. I guess we'll start with Mr. TP today.
Thank you very much. And it's great to see his reports, see the teachers stepping up, recognition they're receiving. Black History celebrations. It's neat to see them all across the board. Schools, different things that they're doing, involving the community. It's amazing. It's gone on for so long, and that it's catching on, and just the excitement at the kids that are winning and participating. So hats off to all the teachers and staff that are involved in that. And great to see the great see that's working.
Mr. Olson. Mix it up every once in a while.
Stephanie. Our student achieve their success. I was able to out and attend quite a few events with the AAA over the last month. Your crew, exceptional job. I had a time. First time I actually attended having gone, Sunnydale's squad is incredible. As far as some other things I was able to do. Exciting. So I am Marino opportunity. Nancy Corey, awesome job. I have had and be able to see students too. So also was really exciting. Other than that, I am so happy the negotiations have gotten settled.
All right, I guess we'll go to Ms. Groves.
Here, energy from 30 days until our next step. And so glad that that's what's going to get school as much as anything else, including breakfast in the classroom and all things that we changing, and all of those things are important. and help our kids. That's I love the Learning Center at Nancy Corey to us, and their faces in the pictures just shows that they're engaged. And for Isabel, I think it's already gone. We went to the AV Edge. Was that last? Okay, time's full. And the economists who have really tried to put some analysis into what economy will be next, there's no doubt about it. They summed it up by saying we might have a couple of, but we might not. Everyone's kind of holding their breath and stopped a bit. But it's encouraging to note that nobody wants it to go up. So, but that's the essence that I got from that. So maybe an interest, but the worst thing the state could do to us is defer. Those were the words. So we certainly that reserve to keep us whole during. As far as the grants, I would encourage everyone to write these grants. It's not necessarily a staff member, but it's to bring in the ability to hire more staff and a better curriculum for our kids. That's what it's for. Appreciate all of the work that goes into, I know Rebecca's been working on it for about a month, all of the work that goes into this because it makes our teaching better. It's very, very important. I would ask that we adjourn tonight in memory of Anthony Avalos. Justice was served today.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen.
Too many things. First of all, it's always good different pieces to should have said stick around and talk. $65. Team. Room and go. Sunnydale will be
Bill's going down.
given for me now.
Good way, yeah. Kids are very impressed.
Um,
Fantastic. All right, thank you. Dr. Marietti.
Well, I just want to say, we talk about it takes a village and school Friday at 3:30. Whether it's the family night celebrations, I was over elementary. Continues on Saturdays with our Sundays. So this is don't close. So excited that we're providing all these wonderful and great opportunities for our families and for our. I also want to acknowledge team because they're cutting edge. They're talk about learning centers. That's the beginning of something we hope. Children. Come to Nancy Corey, they say, okay, let's dive in and let's do it. And they show everybody it can be done and how. Because they're good for kids. Because they affect so much for you. I want to thank, because it's nice to be settlement. Takes that little bit of start all over again and do it again. So, but I just want also athletics, soccer's up and running. So if you want to come out,
Feel about it.
we're definitely steering the ship in the right direction. And when we bring on the community school grant to create more and more of those services to support our students.
Thank you. Well, it's been a good, fun meeting. I'm with you, Gina. It seems a little funner. It's always funner if it gets done before 8 because I get cranky. So that takes the fun right out of it. But you guys did really good. Dr. Goins, are you still out there? Yeah, no presentation for you. We're good. I love you, man, but your presentations, you try to fit it in, and I give you credit. You speak fast, but you just have so much information to give us. So love you, man. I do appreciate your information, but you're going to have to fit it on one of those meetings. But anyway, great meeting. ACES Award winners, awesome. I love the energy of our Sunnydale winners. They were so excited to be here, and that just makes it all the more fun. Nancy, Corey, what can I say? You guys are doing what it takes to do. I mean, I just appreciate all that hard work. I know it's not just not just words. It's not just a presentation. I know you guys care, and I know you guys are doing it. I don't have any grandkids over there right now, so I don't know for sure, but if I wasn't so busy with my kids at home, I would be over there visiting, but I seem to have less time to visit because I have 4 little kids that have, all these things to do. And it's like between piano and ukulele, and my time is not my own anymore. So I apologize for not getting out as much as I like to, but I do hear from my kids how things are going, and that's how I gauge things now. So, my one daughter told me, I met this really famous guy, Leo Stallworth. I said, yeah, I met him before. She goes, no, you didn't? I said, yeah, I did. And she goes, I shook his hand. Oh, okay. So my kids they're on the cutting edge. So I guess with that, we will, I don't think we need to recess to a closed session. So we will adjourn in the memory of Anthony Avalos at 7:40. I need a motion. And second in my rooms. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.